Ralf Scheepers of Primal Fear.
Hello, Mark.
Welcome to 69 Face of Rock. How are you doing today?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Doing well. And what about you? All good?
I'm all good. I'm all good.
Perfect.
Obviously, you have a new album already recorded. Tell me about the writing and preparations for Domination.
Yes. So we collected many ideas again during the years, and of course the last 2 years, let's say, and we had songs, 25 songs we collected in the Dropbox again in our on our place where we collect the ideas, and we choose, in our opinion, the 13 best out of it, and started to really focus on writing these properly in terms of demos pre-recording them with guitars and vocals and here and there, but we did some from post work as well. Of course, the drums are again recorded in a real studio. Then after the demo phase was over, Andre had his chance to bring in his ideas in terms of drumming, not really repeating what the drum machine did on during the writing process. So he brought in his ideas in terms of drum arrangement and so forth. And that's how we proceed to work again. So we were writing a lot. I mean, it was Matt, Magnus, and me pretty much writing songs together, and the others were into late to bring in their ideas, but they can always bring in their new ideas for the next one.
That's right. Even prior to the new music being written and recorded, there were some lineup changes. Can you explain what and why, kind of why it happened?
I was in between, so it was a sad story for me. But sometimes it happens that people don't get along with each other anymore, and then you got to respect opinions. But I was in between, and I decided to continue Primal Fear because Primal Fear is not only on my arm, it's in my heart. And of course, I've been touring with these guys last year, and it's hard for me to say we're buddies on one day and we're enemies on the other day. But now things somehow post to this era, gossip is starting to work, and it's just doing the circle that bad mouthing is happening, and that's not really good. Anyway, I was in between, but I decided to stay with Matt and Magnus because the working with these guys is just also very positive. It's not only their heart in the band, it's also the working, how they work, how we write songs together, and how we produce, which is really very positive. It was a hard time for me. I couldn't sleep for more than a week because it's hard to have an entire lineup change. In the end, it came back to me because I was the only one. They say four people left, but Alex Jansen, the bass player, was always a substitute. He never considered himself as the bass player for Primal Fear. And Andre did the last tour anyway as a drummer already when he replaced Michael when he was ill. So it was basically Alex Byron being fired and Tom following him because he wanted to continue to make music with him. That's his decision. So that was the case. I was in between in the beginning of the guys who were fighting, so it was hard for me, but I decided to go on with Primal Fear.
And judging how great the new album sounds, you probably made the right decision. So who are the new
Thank you.
members and what do they bring to the band?
Well, first of all, they had no chance to bring in their writing ideas, but they brought in their skills in terms of Talia playing her solos. She arranged her own solos for the part she was able to. This is your part. Go forever for what you want to do. And of course, like I said before, Andre, in terms of drumming, we always pre-produce stuff with a drum computer. Of course, it's easy nowadays. Everybody can do it. But it's not a real drummer, and that's what we still want to keep. We want to have the real drumming on an album. So that's how we proceed.
Mhm. Also, for the first time, you have a female in the band, right? Talia. Um, what kind of how does the dynamic of the band changes with her being in Primal Fear?
Very positive. It's a very fresh wind. And I mean, we've been rehearsing, and then, of course, we knew her skills before, but when we rehearsed, we heard this exactly the right thing that we did. And when you see us on stage, it's just like a real upgrade in terms of beautiness of the band. And that's great. I mean, it's a new fresh wind. Everybody's really positive and keen to go for it, and no complaining or bitching about anything. So that's really nice, and that's great to work.
Mhm. So the new album is called Domination. What does that title refer to?
Well, you can pretty much say it's again an underlinement for the huge and massive eagle. He dominates the sky,
Mhm.
and domination is a statement which is strong, and we like the title. So that's the reason why we choose this over a song title on the album. So it was meant to have a different title than a song title on the album.
Also, your bass player and co-founder of Primal Fear, Matt Sinner, went through some health problems recently. How is he doing these days?
It's a miracle that the man is alive, and he's a huge fighter. I mean, he's now back. We played on Wednesday on a stage which was 48 degrees in the sun, and this guy stood there. Of course, everybody was struggling, but he also struggled. But imagine he went through what he went through with his heart problems. It's just a miracle that he does it, and he's so brave, and he's such a fighter that I'm really proud of my friend. So he did it, and we're all happy he's back again.
A true veteran, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's also a song on the album, I Am Primal Fear, which seems like it's going to become a band's anthem. Can you explain its message?
I am the primal fear. Yeah. It's something like I'm your biggest fear you ever had. So, you don't have to take everything so seriously word by word. It is really also combined with some theatrical, tragical stuff, which you can also combine with the movie or so. But there are some personal things on the album as well, which are hidden also in this song. So this lyric is coming from Matt, and he had a statement there. But we always somehow write things around, so it's not so obviously to what we're talking about. But everybody can somehow see himself behind the lyrics when you read it and you think, yeah, you got to take care. I'm the primal fear. So everybody can somehow also relate to his own story in his life if he wants to.
Yeah, I kind of see this one becoming a keeper for many years to come.
Yeah,
The song I find very interesting is Eden. I really enjoyed the epic build-up. Tell me about that song.
beautiful ballad again. And coming from the feather of Matt and Magnus, it's just amazing. And of course, I did my emotional stuff in there as well. And we did this duet with Melissa Bonney from Ad Infinitum. We wanted to have a female voice in the background. She's not really obvious in front. It was not supposed to be a real duet, but she added some ad libs in the end, and she did this harmony in the chorus. That's exactly what we wanted, and she agreed on it as well. And it's just very beautiful. So just imagine when you go through dark times, and I totally knew when Matt was in the hospital that this is going to be great lyrics. So this came up again when he was there, and afterwards he could think clearly again. I knew there's going to be some great lyrics coming up, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. The album is being promoted by two songs which you have video clips for, Far Away and The Hunter. What makes those two so representative of the record?
We thought the first single would be great with Far Away because it's a traditional Primal Fear, fast drumming, shredding guitars, good melodies people can remember and sing along with, which is pretty much our trademark since many, many years now. Just imagine Nuclear Fire back in the days, 2000. So that's pretty much a Primal Fear trademark. And that's exactly the reason why we wanted to have this song as first single. And The Hunter with the shredding guitars again and harmonic vocals in the bridge and in the chorus are pretty much what we did anyway so many years, and it's like you can say it's a Primal Fear style heavy metal. So yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to intentionally to release those two songs as first singles.
Yeah, both are great. In
Thank you.
your opinion, which songs stand out to you from the performer's point of view?
It's very hard because we already choose from 25, so they all stand out. But standing out, not to say it's my favorite, it's just standing out a little bit is the closing song, a tune I won't forget, which is somehow not in the red line. It's somehow as an ending of an album, it stands out a little bit. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's something different on the album, right?
Yeah, definitely. Um, how do you approach your vocals at your age? I mean, you are what, 60 now, right? Yeah, so how do things change over the years and how do you maintain? Because I mean, your singing style is not the easiest one to pull out.
That's true. I can feel the difference, Mark.
Hmm.
But as a vocal teacher, as you can tell, you shouldn't do this. As a vocal teacher, I know what to do and I know how to warm up my voice. And I'm lucky that it's still there. So the tissue, it changes over the years. We all know that. You can easily tell that on every skin on your in your face and everywhere. But it's also inside the body, which is changing a little bit. But you have to have your workarounds, what you do in terms of vocal technique. So it's a breath control, it's a training for the vocal cords, a special training you do, and that's what I'm also doing.
Hmm. Oh, well, you still sound fantastic, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So once the album comes out, what plans do you have for like live shows, tours? What's going to happen?
Yes, we are doing summer festivals. There's two left. We don't do too much this year because whenever you do festivals, it's distracting to tour a little bit, you know. So people might say, I saw them here, I saw them on that festival, so I don't want to go to tour. So in September the 5th, exactly when the album comes out, we start our European tour, lasting 1 month. And then there's going to be so much more next year, also in other continents again. And like, also other countries we did not do in this European tour, we might do next year then, because they're all want to see us and they deserve to see us live too. So we're working on huge schedules and tours.
Is America included in those plans?
Yes, unfortunately, I know there's so much requests from the country, but it's so hard, Mark. I mean, you know, whenever you have to bring in 5 people and maybe some technicians, you have to imagine everybody needs a working visa. We need to see the embassy before we lose like a 5-digit number of amount of money before we are in that country. And then it's so hard to tour America. I mean, you have to go there not only for 3 weeks, you might have to go for 3 months. And that's kind of tough. So anyway, so it's not so easy also to come there anymore. If you're accepted at the border, it's not even sure right now. I don't want to get too political. It's not none of my business, but of course, it's our business as representative and as responsible persons in the band like Matt and me that we have to negotiate what we can do financially. It would make no sense you go to America coming back being bankrupt, you know, because there's so many things you have to do. You have to pay extra taxes in cities and so forth. Like I said, you have to have social security numbers, working visas, and so many things up front before you are there. That is at the moment not possible. But never say never. And of course, America is very important for us too. So we don't want to cancel out anything, but it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. I mean, it's tough for bands in the United States to tour, and I'm not even gonna get into bands coming from overseas, you know. So
Exactly.
those things
Yeah.
and more that you said, those are huge things to consider, you know. And then
Yeah.
obviously you want to stay afloat, you want to at least break even, right? Um,
Exactly.
Now, I have to say, you guys are very consistent. Like only recently, in my memories, the interview popped out that we did 2 years ago, and then here we are again, right? 2 years later.
Yeah.
Uh, so, what would you attribute this consistency that you pretty much have an album out within in 2 years, you know, space of time?
It's not even so hard, Mark, because we do what we do intentionally. I mean, it comes out naturally, and that's the good thing. We don't have to somehow pretend to be somebody else. If we write our music, it's coming straight from the heart because it's exactly what we love to do. And we are lucky that we have so many good writing members in the band, like Matt and Magnus and me, and of course the others are next time also all the time invited. That's what we always had. Everybody was and is invited to write. Not that there are rumors coming out that nobody was able to write. It's everybody included, and in the end, it's going to be decided. So yeah, so that's the big advantage we have. Everybody is really creative, and the good thing is everybody knows how Primal Fear should sound, and you can really tell that on the album.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Now, also, the more interest you get in Primal Fear, people want to explore your past, and your past is quite impressive. So I wanted to ask you some questions about some of the things you did in the past, and the band that comes to mind is Tyrant's Pace. What do you remember from that time?
Tyrant Pace, that was this apostrophe.
Yep.
Yeah, that was my very first time recording albums. It was the first time holding a vinyl in my hand. It was recorded in 1983 while I was doing learning a job. So I had this job at daytime, and at nighttime we were in the studio, so I was awake 24/7. But at that age, it was okay when I was 18. And it was the first step of learning how you work in the studio, how you are playing live, and so forth. I was a kid. I was 17 years old when we started, and that was, of course, I had school bands before, but Tire and Pace, it was the first band I released 3 real vinyl albums with, and I'm happy and still proud, and I don't want to miss anything in my career.
Mhm.
Same thing next with Gamma Ray and so forth. I don't want to miss anything, and I'm grateful for everything I had. I'm grateful for the people I was with, because you always learn, whether it's good or negative. It's always a learning phase. The entire life is learning. And so that's the reason why I'm a grateful person, and don't bitch about the past so much.
That's right. And you were also instrumental in establishing Gamma Ray, which you just mentioned with Kai Hansen. What do you remember from that time?
It was in the beginning, it was really 99% Kai. I
Mhm.
mean, he left Halloween and he wrote a lot of good stuff back in the days for Heading for Tomorrow. And that's the next learning phase. In the next phase, I was so grateful. And of course, I brought in my talent. Otherwise, Kai wouldn't take me if I was not talented. So it's a give and take always, right? So, but I'm so happy and grateful learning again how to produce the vocals in the studio on tape machines. Not, but nowadays everybody talks, well, everything is so easy. It's still the same. I have a microphone in my hand and I record. It's just a hard disk and not a tape. So in the end, again, it was the first steps for me also going through touring the world, being in Japan, doing big European tours, and learning how to be economical with my voice and so forth. So yeah, a great learning phase and a great companionship with all the other members of Gamma Ray.
How would you compare both times? Because Terrence Pace that came out in early '80s, whereas Gamma Ray early '90s. 10 years
Yeah,
in
it was.
between, and so much changes. So how did that look for you?
Yes, of course. I mean, the music scene always changed, but we never cared because we always did what we want to do, and whether we never thought we want to be successful because of this and that, and we never jumped on trends or something. And of course, you hear our, let's say, inspirations from the new wave of British heavy metal era. There were many inspirations. It's not somehow that we are copying stuff. It was just inspiration to somehow do your own thing out of it in the end. And that's what already happened back in the Gamma Ray days.
Mhm.
Yeah. And step by step. So everything is always growing. And then you have your certain experience, which you can always use and live from.
And how important were those two bands in your development as a vocalist and a songwriter?
Very important. So, like I said, everything is learning. And again, no matter what happened, in the end with Gamma Rain, when we went apart, 3 weeks later, we had a phone call. It was nice. It was fine again, but it just didn't work with each other anymore. And yeah, so I'm not the guy. I'm loving harmony. So that's the reason why I always like to somehow sort things out afterwards, after several times. Maybe it takes longer for with some people, but I always would love to be having a good harmony. But in the end, you can't please everybody in the end. You can't be somehow everybody's darling. It's not happening. So again, I'm very grateful for every era and every phase in my musical career so far. And it's been now already 45 years. Wow.
That's very impressive. So in 2009, you released your solo record, right? Self-titled solo record. Is there a chance for a follow-up?
Never say never. I mean, I have ideas and have some leftovers from some sessions we did not use, which are not bad. So never say never, but at the moment there's nothing planned because the focus is 100% Primal Fear.
Mhm. Um, so finally, you had been a band for what, 28 years now? 28 years, that's a long time. Do you think you kind of perfected the formula as to what Primal Fear should be within that time?
Yes, I think we know what we do now. So that's what I said when I answered your first question. We exactly know how this band should sound because it's so easy for us. It's coming really it's flowing out just out. Of course, we have our experimental stuff, a new religion, seven seals, and so forth. We tried out stuff, and we still will, and it's always still also learning more and more and more. But in the end, and that's a cheap answer, you can't invent the wheel for new. But for Primal Fear, the formula stands, and we know exactly what we want.
I know I said finally, but finally now. If there were 5 songs that completely define you from your 45-year-long career, what would those 5 songs be?
From the Time Pace era, it would be Saints of Rock. From the Gamma Ray era, that's tough because there were so many good. But I think it's Heading for Tomorrow. And from Primal Fear, it's a very tough one. Metal is Forever stands out, and Fighting the Darkness, those two, and Seven Seals, and so it's tough.
I make a 10.
Yeah.
um, Ralf, thank you so much for the 45 years of your being an active performer and an artist, and wishing you so many more years to come. And good luck with the new album.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks for having me, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Cheers.